Hi, I'm Dr. David Howle. I am the professor for this class, and I really look forward to this fall semester of getting to know some new students. I imagine that we'll have students that are located all around the world. At least that's been my experience with these Gateway online classes. This may be your first time to take an online class, or maybe you're an old pro. I wanted to introduce myself and get a little bit of information to you about what to expect out of this class. It's a fair amount of reading, although we're only looking at the first 5 books of the Old Testament plus Joshua and Judges, and that's a limited amount of the Old Testament. So we'll give it quite a bit of our attention and examine it in depth. It really sets the stage for the rest of the Old Testament, so we want to lay that foundation well. Needless to say, it'll be important to do the readings. My objective, what I'm going for in this class is to help you get to the point where you can at least begin to examine, describe, and interpret the Old Testament. So that's what I'm putting my emphasis on the entire time in the class. The way that I will measure that to understand, did you get it? Did you reach that objective? Is that I'm assigning an exegesis paper. Some of you may have written an exegesis paper before, perhaps you have not done that. It's a special kind of paper, and I'll give you guidelines in the course and as we go about how to achieve what you desire to in that exegesis paper. It's not simply a matter of saying, okay, turn in the paper and that is how it's done, but I will give you exercises that will help you in the process of understanding, how do I put together a paper? I'm going to have you do some critical reviews. That is to say, you will assess the value of different journal articles, academic journal articles. There are specific ways to do that. I'll give you some guidelines and some examples so that you'll be able to practice that area of research which is so important in putting together an exegesis paper. In addition to that, you will have group discussions. We have a large group discussion that includes the entire class, and I'll expect everyone in the class to participate in that. So you'll be sure that you understand the readings that we've been through for the week and can see what other students in the class are thinking. But in addition to that, I'll have you divided into small groups, and those small groups each group will have its own discussion board. You will take turns rotating as sort of the leader for your small group discussion each week, and that will allow you to get into a more intense, more focused discussion about areas that are of particular interest to you as you go through the Old Testament readings. So these are exercises that will help you in the process of understanding how do I really examine the Old Testament, how do I analyze and describe the Old Testament, and then how can I interpret the Old Testament and communicate that interpretation in a way that is meaningful and helpful in my area of ministry. Seminary has a lot of academic courses, and this is certainly one of them. But I do not want to ignore the application of biblical studies to your ministry setting. Why are we studying the Bible? Except that it affects how we interact with others in communicating the gospel. So I look forward to this semester. I want to know you better, and I want to be available to you. If you want to hear my story, let me know. I'm glad to share it with you. Okay, let's look forward to this semester. Have a great time reading. Let me know if there are any questions. See you in the class.